Like most school days, it was a busy morning. I had my worksheets and a register in my hand. That day, I was going to teach practical geometry in fourth grade. The previous afternoon, I had reminded the class that everyone needed to bring a geometry box the next day. So I asked everyone to take out their geometry boxes. Immediately, that room filled with the sound of metal lids opening. Students placed their boxes proudly on their desks. As I slowly moved between the rows, I reached the girl. I noticed her bag was still closed. She was looking down, her fingers gripping the edge of her desk. "Where is your geometry box?" I asked. She did not answer at first. Her face turned red. A few students turned around to look at her. Her voice was very soft when she replied, I forgot. I sighed and walked away. In that moment, I saw only an unprepared student. She stood beside her desk silently while I continued teaching. I was worried about time and syllabus. In the midst of teaching, there was a soft knock on the door. The whole class turned. A woman stood outside, slightly out of breath. Her hair was untidy from rushing, and her clothes were damp with sweat. In her hand, she held a small geometry box wrapped carefully in old newspaper. "I'm sorry for disturbing the class," she said gently, and she handed me the box and said, "I could not come earlier. I had to arrange some money first." For a moment, I could not speak. I looked at the little girl standing beside her desk with tears in her eyes. Only then did I understand. The child had not forgotten. She had been waiting. She had been afraid. She had carried a worry too heavy for her age. The strictness in me slowly disappeared. The small geometry box was no longer just a school material. It was a mother's sacrifice. It was borrowed money. It was a child's fear. It was poverty hidden behind silence. A few weeks after that incident, I attended a professional learning session for teachers. The speaker introduced Hannah Arendt's idea of education. The speaker explained that for Hannah Arendt, education is the responsibility adults carry towards children. A teacher's role is not simply to deliver lessons, but to stand between the child and the wider world. At first, the idea sounded too philosophical, but as I listened, my mind went back to the little girl standing beside her desk. I realized I failed, even for a moment, to see the responsibility clearly. I was focused on the lesson, the syllabus, the classroom routine, and the materials students were expected to bring. I saw the missing geometry box as a problem of preparation, but Aaron's idea helps me understand that teaching requires more than instruction. It requires judgment, care, and responsibility for the child in front of us. That day, I was representing the world to my students. But what kind of world did I show to that child? A world where poverty becomes embarrassment? A world where silence is mistaken for carelessness? A world where being unprepared is punished before being understood? Through Arendt, I now realize that a teacher's authority is not simply about controlling the classroom. It is about accepting adult responsibility to guide children, hold expectations, and protect them as they enter the world. This does not mean teachers should ignore learning expectations. Rather, it means we must hold expectations of humanity. This is also where the issues of teacher workload becomes important. As teachers, we often carry heavy workloads. We rush between lessons, markings, meetings, school activities, and the pressure to complete the syllabus. We try to manage the classroom, meet expectations, and complete everything on time. But sometimes, without intending to, we become so focused on managing the lessons that we forget to notice the child behind the behavior. A teacher under pressure may still teach the lesson, but may miss the child. Arendt's idea helped me see that teacher workload is not just about teachers being tired. It is about what happens to education when teachers no longer have enough time and emotional space to exercise thoughtful responsibility. When teachers are overloaded, Their ability to pause, notice, and respond wisely becomes weaker. Now, as a teacher, I carry this memory differently. Before I correct, I need to understand. Before I punish, I need to ask. Before I assume, I need to listen. So, education, as Aaron's remind me, is responsibility towards both children and the world. So, the question I carry now is, how can teachers introduce children to the world with dignity, care, and hope if the system does not give teachers enough time and space to truly see them?